It was a cold and drilling morning in the heart of London when 23-year-old Clara Matthews stood before the cracked mirror in her dingy flat. Her auburn hair was hastily tied into a messy bun, her tired green eyes reflecting the weariness of a single mother. The walls around her were peeling, and the room smelled of unwashed clothes. In the corner of the room, her 6-month-old baby, Olivia, lay in a second-hand crib, fussing softly. Clara's life was a far cry from the one she had imagined. Once an inspiring fashion designer with dreams of working in London's vibrant West End, had found herself pregnant at 22 after a flirting relationship with a man who had vanished as quickly as he had come. Olivia's father was a ghost, and Clara was left to pick up the pieces alone. Her family, living in the outskirts of Manchester, had cut ties with her when she refused to return home. London, she had thought, was her only chance at making something of herself. But life in the city was unforgiving. Clara worked part-time at a pub, barely making enough to cover rent, let alone the cost of formula and diapers. Her dreams had been replaced by endless nights of crying, both Olivia's and her own. She felt trapped, isolated, and desperately longing for freedom. One fateful afternoon, while scrolling through her phone during Olivia's nap, Clara received a message from an old friend, Chloe. Chloe was the epitome of the carefree life Clara once led. Parties, designer clothes, and social circles that never seems to stop buzzing. "Hey babe, massive party at Cardin tonight. Are you in? Miss your face." Clara stared at the message. She hadn't been out in months. Her life had become an endless loop of sleepless nights and exhausting days. The thought of dancing, drinking, and feeling alive again was intoxicating. But Olivia, who would watch Olivia? She rationalized quickly. "I will be gone for a few hours," she told herself. "He will sleep through the night. I will leave the monitor app on my phone. It's fine." That night, Clara dressed in a sequins top and a skinny jeans, a stark contrast to her usual sweatpants and an oversized hoodies. She left Olivia with a bottle of formula, tucked him into his crib, and slipped out of the flat. The party was everything Clara had hoped for. Loud music, free drinks, and a sense of euphoria she hadn't felt in years. One drink turned into 3, and 3 turned into shots. Chloe introduced her to a group of friends who were heading to another club. "Come with us," they urged. Clara hesitated. It was already past midnight, but the pull of the night was stronger than her guilt. "Just one more hour," she promised herself. 1 hour turned into an entire night. By the time Clara stumbled into Chloe's flat the next morning, she was too drunk and exhausted to return home. "Olivia will be fine," she slurred to herself, collapsing on the couch. "He's just a baby. He sleeps all day anyway." Over the next few days, Clara fell deeper into the haze of parties, drugs, and alcohol. Each morning, she woke up with a pounding headache and a pit of guilt in her stomach. But instead of facing the mounting dread of returning to her flat, she drowned it in another drink. Chloe and her friends encouraged her. "You deserve to have fun," they said. "You've been through so much." Meanwhile, Olivia laid alone in the flat. The formula bottle had run out on the first night, and his cry echoed through the empty space, unheard and unanswered. By the third day, his cry had grown weaker. By the sixth day, they had stopped altogether. On the seventh day, Clara finally returned home. She had run out of money and Chloe's flat had become stifling. The moment she opened the door to her flat, the stench hit her. It was a smell she couldn't place at first: sour, rancid, and overwhelmingly foul. "Olivia," she called, her voice shaking. The flat was eerily silent. She rushed to the crib, her heart pounding in her chest. There, she found him, still, pale and lifeless. His tiny body was cold to the touch, his once rosy cheek now sunken. Clara screamed, a guttural, animalistic sound that echoed through the empty flat. She collapsed to the floor, clutching Olivia's lifeless body, rocking back and forth as tears streamed down her face. The weight of her actions hit her all at once, suffocating her. The neighbors had heard her scream and called the police. When they arrived, they found Clara cuddling Olivia's body. The paramedics confirmed what Clara already knew: Olivia was gone. Dehydration and malnutrition had claimed his tiny life. Clara was arrested on the spot. The media quickly picked up the story, dubbing her the party mom. Headlines screamed of her neglect and selfishness. The public was outraged, and social media was flooded with the calls for her to face the harshest punishment possible. Clara's trial was a media success. The persecution painted her as callous, irresponsible mother who had abandoned her child for a week. The defense argued that Clara was a victim of postpartum depression, struggling without support and resources. Clara sat silently throughout the proceedings, her once vivid green eyes now dull and lifeless. She did not care about the outcome. No punishment could surpass the torment of losing Olivia. The jury deliberated for only a few hours. Clara was found guilty of manslaughter and sentenced to 10 years in prison. As the sentence was read, Clara felt a strange sense of relief. She welcomed the punishment, believing it was the least she deserved. In prison, Clara spent her days reflecting on her actions. She attended therapy sessions where she finally confronted the depths of her depression and guilt. She wrote letters to Olivia, apologizing over and over, though she knew he would never read them. London moved on as it always did, but the story of Clara Matthew lingered in the public consciousness. She became a symbol of devastating consequences of neglect and the importance of mental health support for young mothers. 10 years later, when Clara was released, she was a different person. She returned to the flat in London where it all happened, now long abandoned. Standing in an empty room where Olivia had taken his last breath, she whispered, "I'm sorry," one final time. And then she left, determined to honor his memory by helping other struggling mothers avoid the mistake she had made. Though Olivia was gone, his short life became the catalyst for change, a legacy that Clara vowed to uphold for the rest of her days.